What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today when I talk to you about ChargePoint, I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what is really moving ChargePoint, and give you a quick summary of their recent earnings. So I want to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, at the time of doing this video, it is down 2.52%, largely piggybacking off of the broader market. There isn't anything specific to ChargePoint today that's really causing it to go down. So the market is reacting to a lot of the data that's been coming out. So today, unemployment came in line the forecast, or kind of came in at 4.2. Non-farm payroll, you did have that kind of low. So 142 versus 164,000. And even yesterday you had unemployment, as well as you had earlier in the week manufacturing data. So a lot of the data that's been coming out hasn't been good. And even in regards to the unemployment, even with it coming in line and flat, you had Jim Cramer coming out saying that the data is a-okay and people shouldn't worry. So I think that probably was the biggest kryptonite of them all to really cause a lot of the broader market to sell off. So yeah, as a byproduct, that's what's happening on a macro standpoint. Specific to ChargePoint though, they did recently have their earnings. So in case you do not know, on the 4th after hours, they did unveil their earnings. So earnings per share, they missed. Revenue, they missed. So a lot of the key metrics wasn't in line with expectations. And not only that, they did guide down for the foreseeable future. So as you can kind of see, it was previously forecasted to be 103.84 million for the revenue. It was guided down to between 85 to 95 million. So that is exactly the opposite of what the market wants to hear. So essentially they are improving slightly on their margins, but there was so many negatives when it came down to their earnings. It just didn't really incentivize any buying. And I did a quick summary of ChargePoint leading into their earnings, and you can kind of tell that institutions were hesitant just based on a lot of the data points at the time. And post their recent earnings, no different. So institutions are still massively overlooking ChargePoint. So in their minds, it's not a buy. And I think just based on the technicals as well, it's just more of a full breakdown on a lot of different regards. So these are all the transactions on the secondary market above $100,000 over the last 90 days. So last one was on July the 31st. Dark pool seems to be a little bit more popular. So dark pool is often enough linked to shorting, and shorts basically are the only entities out there making money on ChargePoint. And even right now, shorts are increasing 1.79 million shares. 28.95% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 114.98 million shares. Cost of borrow average is 6.21, utilization 88.36, and then short score, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is 84.39. And you can kind of tell leading into their earnings, shorts were really doubling down. So ever since the low on the 26th, August 26th of 26.45%, shorts have been really getting back in, and their earnings didn't really give any reason for them to return. If anything, their next quarter as well is going to be fairly bad. In their earnings, as you can kind of see from the transcripts, they did guide for 2027 profitability. Analysts are kind of agreeing on that, as you can kind of see. So it does move to kind of profitability somewhat here in 2027. So that is maybe a positive, but up until then, there's going to be excessive dilution. So just kind of be aware of that, right? I like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. ChargePoint last earnings was very positive, a very nice surprise. So I think that's what kept some people still hanging on to ChargePoint in just anticipation of positive earnings for this time around. But yeah, they really dropped the ball. Even on options, so 64,000 in calls, 116,000 in puts, 71% of all the options being done so far today are bearish. So people are anticipating more of a further breakdown. If anything, sub $1 is even the optimistic individuals buying calls is anticipating for it to be around that $1 range. And then puts, you see kind of between that $1.50 and $1. So not good in any regard. This is the current open interest, so you don't really see that much optimism. So for January, maybe around that $3 range, but I'm sure a lot of that was purchased way back when it was close to that price point. So options not looking good. But then again, options doesn't really dictate the price. It's just more of a sentiment, so kind of just be aware of that. One thing that does really affect the price though is institutions buying. That is one of the biggest factors that adds support levels, and ChargePoint, like I said, based on their earnings, gave no reason for institutions to buy ChargePoint. And that's not even counting in just the macro fear that is happening right now. These are some of the recent analyst ratings. So popping over to 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧, you have a couple ones. So Goldman Sachs, Mark did give a sell $1.25 rating. You have a couple $3, $2, $4. Still, as a consensus, $2.47 is the target based on everything right here, and that does represent a 82.29% upside. So let me know your thoughts on that, if you feel like it is justified or whatever else. On a side note, a lot of this does represent 1 year out. So when an analyst is giving $2, especially a downgrade by TD Cowen, a lot of these ratings or analysts have very bad ratings, but I think that's just the nature of the game, especially for EVs. A lot of them have been wrong time and time again, but I think a lot of analysts give 1 view or 1 year out ratings. So yeah, I think just the upside isn't really there. My own opinion, of course, you guys do whatever floats your boat and stuff like that, but as of right now, with it at $1.34, it's kind of trading between this these 2 points, so this S3 and this S2. So $1.50 is going to be that next strong resistance / target, and then $1.25 will be that next strong support. Right now it's kind of just stuck in this range right here, and it has been over the last several trading days, but I do feel, given just the broader fear in the market, there is more downside anticipated. So potentially this S3 might be touched, and then there's a fine line between that and a new 52-week and all-time low being created for ChargePoint. So let me know your thoughts. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? And if so, why? Why have you been buying? Was there something from their earnings that maybe stood out to you that you really liked? Are you just averaging down? Well, like, what really drew you to ChargePoint? And don't forget to hit that thumbs up as well on the side note. And just to give you a quick overview, it is outside the Bollinger Band. Stochastic, you do see it rather oversold. So if there's a good piece of news that ChargePoint somehow has in its back pocket that wants to unveil, you could see a rush of temporary value investors, and a number of just retail investors have been getting out. So yeah, let me know what you guys been doing. And plus, on a side note, if you guys have been dabbling with options, let me know, because even though this is kind of low dollar value, in comparison to the past, it's somewhat high on that level for a ChargePoint, I guess, if that makes sense. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. With all that said, one final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it. They give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Link to this is in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.